What's up, everybody? This is the poker coaching study session. Today, we're going to be looking at
playing out of position against someone with a VPIP of 88 and an RFI of 3. So loose and passive. Everything about this should get us a lot of money. It didn't, except for the fact that we're out of position, which is not my excuse. I think playing badly and a little bit of unlucky, but mostly playing badly is going to be the excuse. So I'll go first. Jack Queen should raise here and take it. 10-8 suited should not be 3-betting, and he shouldn't be calling very much, I think. But what happens is that's his first limp, which brings in the 8-10 suited is now an easy call, and he could even go for an ISO if he prefers out of position. But he goes for the call, and we have to see a flop with 6-7. Well, good for us. And the exploit here, my belief is, once we find out how loose and passive, how loose this guy is not going to be to raise hands like 6-7. It's going to be the fact that we get to see flops with hands like 6-7 that we never should. That's our exploit. That's where our extra EV comes in against him, since we know he's going to call our raises. So I don't think we want to start getting much wider out of position against him. We flop pretty good in a checked pot. So if we bet out here, this is not a donk here because because against a limp, there is no donk. So we can bet out here if we want. Let's see what happens. Check. We do. We bet out tiny into a board, into a tiny pot. So a third, because we're multi-way, that's fine. Even larger is not even large, because in the absolute sense, 1, 2, and 3 big blinds is small. So he calls with his full range there. This guy folds. There's a 10. I don't know if we shut it down yet. We don't know anything about him yet, though. This is our first hand against him. So all we know is he's a limper. So we bet it and we get the win. All right. Up next is Richie.
Okay, so it should fold around ace queen, and it does.
All right. Up next is Mike.
Well, okay, so I mean, this is first hand of this session, basically, so we don't know much about villains. Queen 8 is a fold for me on the button. However, if we did know and want to expand, Queen 8 becomes a raise for me. So I'm not sure what we do here.
We just fold it. It's our second hand against him. We have no information except that
and then ace 5 and small blind would be a raise at full stacks. 50 big blinds, I'm sure it's probably still a raise.
Yeah, it's a good raise. And he's going to call it because he's going to call everything. And now what do you want to do with 5 deuce against this gift?
I mean, without 50 big blind stacks, I mean, I think you could probably raise if you want, certainly, but also just take a flop here.
Yeah. 5 deuce against a limp there is 2, 3, 4, 5. This is one of the folds. I mean, not folds. This is one of the pure checks.
Just pure check it. Yeah.
And there's no reason, I think, to go against.
And of course, that's assuming your opponent is pretty good.
Yeah.
A lot of times at these stakes, the limp, typically you can start to make some assumptions. I mean, it's not always accurate, but you can probably kind of start to make some assumptions that it's probably on the fishier side and probably not a limp from a reg who's using limp strategies. So, but yeah.
Yeah, it's probably not protected with enough limp re-raises.
Exactly.
So in this case, raising the 5 deuce would be fine, since a lot of that offsuit garbage raises, like the jack deuce and the 10 deuce do a lot of it. But it turns out that 5 deuce, 6 deuce, 7 deuce block there doesn't do it at all in GTO world. But it's all the same thing. Okay. Flops and ace.
Limp. I mean, I would have no idea how the strategy should play out, but it's if it were me and I happened to misclick a limp here, I would guess if I limped, I would just kind of start maybe building a pot here, because you certainly have the best hand almost always.
Yeah.
And you're the blind versus blind, you're often not getting believed. I mean, you just can almost start piling money, but I would bet.
What size?
3/4 pot. I'd go 1.75.
Cool. He goes 1.
half.
Yeah.
And I mean, just fold 5 deuce. This is an interesting call.
It's not bad.
Ah,
Backdoor flush, backdoor straight. I mean, it's the ignorant end. It's both of them. No, it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's fine. I don't know. I would never. I wouldn't make the call versus almost anybody.
Yeah.
Should I be calling?
I don't think so. Because your
I
backdoor,
mean, maybe raising. I think
Yeah.
raising is better. But
yeah. I think with this hand, it's just a good fold. Your backdoor straight, when the three, let's see, when the 3-4 comes, you only lose to 5-7, so that's not bad. When your flush comes, that's bad. And when the 6-7-8-9 comes in, that's bad. So, yeah, it's not a lot of good things can happen here. Okay. Ace-5.
if you're the ace five, you could probably either check or bet again, small, maybe exploitatively. You just keep betting.
Sure. I don't think. And
Because-
notice this is where we're gonna start seeing a pattern with him. This
Yeah.
one, these tiny bets.
And again, I mean, now, and do we want to call with a 5 high flush? I don't. Maybe it's okay. Look at our direct odds are
Yeah.
actually okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess you can call here for this size.
Yeah, you're allowed to treat one big blind as if nothing, as if it's not a bet. You're allowed to do that. Okay. And now what does he do? Now he goes big.
He goes big, which is I don't think that would be the appropriate size. I think more block or maybe even check would
Yeah.
be good and hope for a bluff.
Yeah.
But maybe it's fine. Maybe again, exploitative. All you got to do is get somebody who doesn't believe you with 8x or 6x or
Yeah. Yep.
jack. So maybe it's okay. Maybe it's good. Maybe you should be doing that.
So we're gonna remember this hand, and if we get time at the end, we'll throw this into a solve. Just because we really don't know how to play this limp strat here, but we also were never gonna be in this limp strat. We're never gonna be the ace-5 here. So we don't need to spend time on it now, but at the end, if we have time, we'll come back to it, because both you and I are looking at this going, I don't know what to do. All right,
Yeah.
Mel, and you get this.
Okay, 3-8 fold, ace jack, raise 2.5, 3.
And the reason I'm going 3 is that I've seen is just because even now, seeing somebody with 100%, I can go bigger.
Oh, yeah, so 6-3, yeah, 6-3 should fold, obviously. Small blind, my weak spot, either raise or fold. I guess if it's an early raise, maybe it should even be a fold.
Right, but this is not early. This is late.
Ah,
This is cut off.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, if it's a 3-bet, then it would need to be like something between 10 and 12. Wait, no,
see.
we've got the call. Yeah,
12, 15, 16.
yeah. So much more, 15 to 17.
Yeah, like that. But he goes for the call.
Okay. Okay, and then, I mean, villain 18 can also call.
Yeah.
In that case.
King 10, and notice how short these stacks are, all of them.
Yeah. So they buy in with such small amounts from
Yep.
the beginning?
They do. That's what they did.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so villain 18 calls, probably.
He does. What would you like to do here if it's you?
I don't know. If I would be villain 18, I would respect the first raise.
Yeah.
And then if there's 2 calls, yeah, King 10 off is not in great shape.
Yeah, I want to fold it there. I'm going to look at that. I think that as each person comes in, we want to go tighter. So I think I want to fold even King 10 there. And if I want to do anything with it, it's a raise. I think, but I think more than a call. Let's see. So we are cash. We're going to go with the 6-handed version because that's where we are. We're only going to do pre-flop so we can get the different sizings. It's also a 3, not a 2.5. That pushes it up even more. So there's the 3. Get a cutoff raise, button calls. Where's the 6-3 offsuit? I don't see it. Small blind calls. And now in the big blind with a King 10, yeah.
Yeah,
Slip
it's-
raise. So that's a really good fold. I
Yeah.
like.
but
And
usually you raise 2.5 or
Yes. And
yeah.
I'm gonna move to 3 in this session, and I may even move as high as 3.5 or 4 later. As I see
Mhm,
this guy more and more willing to call with garbage. I might even push it up to 5, like you see in a live game. We'll see.
Okay.
And this strategy here, along with it assuming good players, is also 100 big blinds deep. We don't have the shorter strat, so we have to extrapolate. But I believe that not only in GTO world, I think in the real world, this is a better fold than a call, and I think it is a better raise than a call, and it's a bad raise.
Yeah.
So I think GTO is correct here. All right. And of course, when GTO is correct, he outflops us. All right.
Yeah.
So what would you like to see happen now?
King Queen could check.
I like it.
King 10 could bet.
He can.
King-
Should he?
He can. He shouldn't.
I agree. I think
Uh,
you should go for a check
because
raise.
of the because of the pre-flop raise from the other hero, from the one hero.
Yep.
Ace check could bet third pot.
Mhm. I don't think I
6-3.
should. I think I think I should default to with 3 players against that someone will have it, and if it's not me, it's someone else. That seems like a
Yeah.
simple thing to do here. And a turn and another card. The next card can be really good for me.
Yeah, if the next card is a spade, we can bet.
Yeah, it can be a spade, it can be an ace, it can be a jack, it can be a queen, it can be a king. All those cards can be good for me, and I might get there free.
Okay. 6-3 check behind.
So I got to get there, which I did.
It's a 10. Okay. Wow. Okay, so Willen 20 bets. But they shouldn't probably.
Mhm.
King 10 is definitely either going to call or raise.
Yep.
Um,
Which would you do?
with many more players, I mean, the 2 hearts are not great, but like if I would call, maybe my call lures more callers into the pot, whereas if I would raise to 3 times the size, I might scare some of them away.
Mhm.
So maybe just a call, although I would like to see more. Like, I mean, 2 hearts are not great because somebody could improve.
So those are your competing things. You don't want to give 2 hearts a draw. You don't care about giving 7-8, 8-9, and 7-9 a draw.
Yeah.
And you have no hearts. So maybe what you do here is if you have since you have these 2 competing things going on, so maybe the way to decide is if you have a single heart here, you tend towards calling because there are fewer heart draws out there. And when there's a heart draw out there, it gets there less often. And when you have no heart, you aim towards raising. That seems like a good balance, those 2.
Then a large raise. Okay.
Yeah, and a large raise, yeah. He calls, okay.
Ace check, yeah, there's nothing they can do anymore at this point, I guess.
Yep.
So they fold. And 6-3, well, they have 2 pair. So I expect them to probably call behind.
Right. And what would you do if it were you? You don't see their hands.
I would be very suspicious that somebody has a 10.
Yeah.
Even if it's a 10 with like a crappy kicker. So yeah. Especially after the re-raise, I think it's time maybe to fold.
This is a great fold. And this is where your internal Joey voice is saying to you, in a multi-way pot, where more than one person is interested in the flop, a single pair doesn't win very often. And you've not even got top pair, and you've not even got a good kicker with your 6.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, you can get out of there so much. And you have no backdoor. Yeah. Right. So he calls, because people who have this kind of VPIPs do these things.
Okay.
River?
The river is the 9.
Right, so king, queen's the one who bet it. He got called twice.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, they should probably just check. But they will probably bet.
He gives up.
Ah, he checks, okay. King 10, bet pot.
Mhm. Yep.
6-3 should fold.
There you go. Good. Yep. And I think that betting here is kind of a suicide bet. You block people from having the hearts, which you block their heart auto folds. And the 9 not only brings in the 7-8 straight that could be there, it also gives a pair to the 7-9 and the 8-9, gives everything else that's there. It's just a card for you. And there still could be somebody with a 10 out there or a pair that's like that. Yeah.
But
I like
King
it.
10, the size on the river, is that okay, or should it be smaller?
I think it's fine. He's against 2 players. You know, he's looking at, he has probably the best 10. You know, if he loses to ace 10, he loses to ace 10.
Yeah,
I guess, well, okay, I don't know. That's the answer.
because like just in terms of generating value, like if this guy like villain 16 has been so sticky the entire time.
It's only 3 hands. He's only seen, well, actually, we don't know. He could have been playing against him earlier than us. We just got to the table.
Yeah, because if it's about him calling, then I would probably do like maybe just a third.
Yeah, that seems okay too.
Yeah.
And a third, and if you get jammed on, you do what?
Who, if I'm villain 16 or
Yeah,
what?
18. No, 18. You go a third and either one of these guys jams.
Oh God. I don't know. I would probably still have to call.
I don't know if it's right, but I would.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, difficult.
All right, I'm up next. 3-5 should fold. He will limp. Deuce 7 should fold. Ace Jack, if this limps, should ISO it. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I'm going in the wrong order. King 10, I should raise. I should raise, and I should raise to 4.5. Ace Jack should. Here is, it should be mixing folds and 3 bets, actually. It's not a pure 3 bet. But given that he's posted, it seems so hard to fold it. So I expect I'm going to raise and he's going to call. That's what I think is going to happen. I don't think it's optimal, but that's what's going to happen. So there's my raise, and I'm raising big now. I'm raising, oh no, I'm not raising big. There's that guy. That's my normal raise. Okay, I raise. He does the call. This 3-5 should absolutely fold. He's going to call. Deuce 7 gets out there. This ace jack could squeeze it out of position. Wouldn't be the worst thing. A call doesn't seem really bad. It's not GTO. I think by the time 2 people are in, he should be 3-betting is his better choice, but a call isn't miserable. So he goes for a tiny 3-bet that accomplishes nothing except building the pot and giving me, with the top of my range, the opportunity to go over the top, which he doesn't want me to do. So this is, I think, really bad. And with what I don't believe is the best hand, I can easily call here. The ace jack being offsuit should consider that he is often dominated here by this action. And fold, he never will. And the 3-5, getting this price in this situation, knowing both his cards are live, having made the mistake he already made, I think he should call, even with only 30 big blinds. If he had 100 big blinds, I think he should definitely call. There we go. Yay me for now. Ace Jack should look at this in the world of if you don't have it, somebody else does when there's 3 other opponents, and he can call a small bet with his overcard, his backdoor straight, and his backdoor flush, depending on what the action is. I don't think he should drive the action. He doesn't. I can given that he didn't, and I can also check, that's okay. I don't think this check is terrible. I'm checking to call, I'm not checking to fold. I check, he checks, checks around, okay. So I have the best hand. I hate that card. Now I should bet, I think. I do. This ace jack should raise me or call. He shouldn't fold. Now, the size I'm offering him is with his, because he thinks his ace is good. Yeah, he shouldn't fold. He doesn't. He's got a should. And the 5. Now a 4-liner and the flush is there. This is where this hand goes off the rails. I remember it. I checked with the intent of calling. He jammed. And I decided with the 4-liner to fold. I'm unhappy. I remember that hand. Excuse me, I'm going to put on Richie and I'm going to take this real quick.
Richie said skip.
Okay, I'm going to put on you then. Let me okay. Hold on 1 second. Okay, we go to Zoom and here we go. Mike, you're up.
Okay. All right. Ace 5's too early. Key all the way. So, well, the big blind should get a walk here. So now that 9 deuce has decided to limp, it should limp all the way around, or it should fold all the way around to hero. You can check his option. These are all bad calls. Now, okay, we get not a good ISO with his stack size. I think he should just let it go. He's playing 35 or he's playing 40 big blinds. I don't think we need to be ISOing 10-4 suited as a short stack like this. But it's an error on the aggressive side, so okay. And he should take it.
Yeah, he should, but he's not going to because deuce 9 is not folding.
How about that?
Right. Now we haven't seen a showdown from his hands yet, but there we go. And this king 7 seems really bad.
Yeah,
Even
they're all
relative to knowing what's going on. If he knew that this guy was opening what was 3-betting wide and this guy was calling with anything, the king 7 is still not up to it. All right. But bad play is rewarded.
okay. And what we should see, check, and then, well, all right. Well, he wants to donk with his top pair, crappy kicker, back doors. And he's probably going to take it. Yep.
And this shows us why this is such a bad idea. He didn't give this guy a chance to bluff. He let him off the hook. All right. Okay, so to answer the question, who is internal Joey? So Joey is a player who was in the study session for a while and I think is now in law school, perhaps. Was a real good player, was a coach for a little while, or was going to be a coach. And one of the things that he drilled into us a lot was multi-way pots. And his point was that in a multi-way pot, especially a 4-person, 5-person multi-way pot, but even just 3-person multi-way pot, that on the river, a single pair, if 2 people are interested in it, a single pair doesn't win very often. So you're going to be doing a lot of folding, even your over pairs, when 2 people are interested. Now it's easy to do that when it goes bet raise, you know, and you could have aces. And if the board comes down in any coordinated way at all, and it's a bet and a raise before it gets to you, you can look at this and say, my aces are not going to be good on the river and fold. It's hard to do. And so that there are exceptions to it. It's not always true, but my default is in every multi-way pot, think about your internal Joey and be able to argue against it if you want to play any other way. Make sure you have a good reason. Your default is, and then the Jonathan Little thing was just, if you're in a multi-way pots and you don't, someone has it, if it's not you, it's someone else. Whatever the it is, and then you decide what it is, depending on the board. All right, so those are the answers to there. Up next is Mel. Melanie gets this beautiful hand.
7-9. Fold.
Right, but what will he do?
He will limp.
Damn right.
Ace check should be a 3.5 raise.
I'm going to suggest 4.5, but either way, it's an ISO. Yeah. So I'm going to suggest you go full pot in these ISOs. And when you're out of position, go pot +1.
Okay.
My suggestion for your ISOs.
Okay.
And he chooses 4. Okay.
Queen 6 fold. Ace 10, yeah, should
Good
fold.
play by ace 10. Yeah. That's right. He's
Yeah,
the
this
first guy
time
who's
I'm
done it.
folding ace 10. Kings should be 3-betting to maybe 16, 15.
Sounds good.
7-9 should fold. Okay.
That's how sticky he is.
Yeah. Yeah, and now ace check should technically still be a fold.
Definitely fold.
But he's
Definitely fold. Whose bad play will be rewarded?
the one with the ace. Oh,
No.
7.
The 9-7.
9-7.
We're going to see
Okay.
some happy tilt.
Yeah. Kings continuation bet small.
What size is small?
Third pot.
Sounds good. He goes bigger, but okay.
So if I were villain 16, rainbow, I would just call it and hope that villain 20 calls behind to get more money into the pot.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's going to be so easy for you to get all in, even if the turn goes check, check. The SPR is going to be is going to be less than 1 with this.
Yeah.
You're great. And what if this guy's bluffing ace king here? You want him to hit an ace or a king on the turn. And if he's bluffing jack, jack, and he hits his jack, that's life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
So the kings, there has been a call, so the kings need to be wary. They could try, however, to bet, third pot, quarter pot.
So I like the thought process there, but look at villain 16's stack size.
49. And we have 97. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So it seems to me that there is no bet smaller than 50 here.
Yep. Okay, then maybe 70 even.
Yeah, just put them all in.
Yeah.
If he has a queen, he calls you. If he has an ace, you don't mind the fold. Because ace queen, he's going to call you and it goes there. He has the 7, you're going to lose all your money anyway. So yeah. And there's the ace on the river anyway. All right. Now this guy has a huge stack and we like that. And we've now seen what he did with 9-7. And at this point, this is when we become incredibly confident. He's at hand 6 and we formed an opinion about him at hand 3. And now it's been confirmed. Okay. Here we go. That was Melanie. So this is me.
By the
Fold.
way, just one question in between.
Yeah.
how
Yep.
many of these tables do you play simultaneously? Because I mean, now of course you went through the hands and so on, but like the thought process that we make here are very, in depth. So
I play one table at a time and two tables at a time. I don't play more than that.
yeah,
I
yeah,
find that when I play two tables, I am not paying attention enough to the individual players. I'm not making enough notes on individuals, so I'm playing
Yeah.
just against tendencies, but I do have a HUD. So I get to look over and see things. And I make two big conclusions from two small data from my HUD, and I believe that that's correct. So I don't make a determination based on the HUD between somebody who's got a 20 and a 30 VPIP. Okay, those numbers are the
Mm.
same to me. That's variation. But
Yeah.
but I play with people who have VPIPs in the 70s and 80s. And if you've got a VPIP of 70 and 80 and we've got 10 hands in, I'm already assuming that's real. And if you've got a VPIP of 0 and we are 11 or 12 hands in, I already assume that that says something.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
I am making gross generalizations that are wrong, but they are, but they are much more right than having no opinion about the guy, right? Because the alternative is to have no opinion,
exactly.
to have a better opinion.
Yeah,
So
got it.
I'm doing that. And then if I'm playing at a table and I see anybody getting out of line in a way that I recognize, I will stop playing the other table and only play at this table. So if I was playing at two tables and I saw that 9-7 there, I would stop my other table when the big blind came around and play against this guy. Because that's
Yeah.
where the money is going to come from, is my opinion.
Yeah,
This
Yeah.
particular day, I was not playing against anyone else. I was at one table at the time. So I
Yeah.
found, so this was immediate. It's like, okay, I'm in. Let's
Yeah.
hunker down.
Okay.
Okay. So that's what
Thanks.
happened. All right. 3-4 should fold, 7-7 should be raising here in the hijack. Nearly pure, like 75% in the hijack. Maybe pure. Let me think. I don't care. He should just be raising. When it gets to the ace jack on the button, I should mix raises and calls against this single raise. Ace jack is enough against the hijack and probably raise it. Okay, so he goes to 5. He goes huge. And at 5, I think the ace jack becomes a fold. But I call it. Why do I call it? I have no idea why. Oh, because this guy's going to be in. Because this guy's going to call the 5. So that's going to be 5. So that's going to be 5 of dead money in position. That's why I do it. Because if I 3-bet, he goes out and he's the worst player. So I'm okay with this, in position with this. It's not going to end well for me. So the 4-6 is going to check and should, because that's how he plays. He's not aggressive. The 7s should not be happy. They should do a lot of checking here and calling a single bet. But he bets out to see where he is, and I'm going to answer him that you are ahead of me. And the 4-6 is not going to fold to this. He doesn't. He should check again. Now the 7s should get scared and should check behind and maybe call the river. But we saw him not do that before in the other hand, where he kept going with his, he was king 10, not king queen. So we'll see. So he checks behind, which I think is good. And of course, our bad player is rewarded. What does he do when he hits it? I think he's going to bet. No, he checks for it. And this guy bets small. He gets raised. Giant. And this is a trivial fold for the 7s. Oh, right. He only has 20. He only has 14 more. This is not a trivial fold. This is an easy fold. It's not trivial because he's putting in 14 to try to win 74. But he's lost. There we go. And we get to see a guy who's now called 6-4 offsuit against a 5 big blind raise and a call. We're still losing money, but we're getting information that, by the way, does us no good. No good. We make no money from this guy. All right. Up next is Richie, if you're there. Okay, looks like we don't have a Richie, so we're on to Mike.
All right, Jacks should get a walk, but let's see what happens. Limp raise. I would be making it 5 here.
Right. Now, against this guy, 5 is easy. because he's gonna call you. This guy did not pay attention to what went. He could have gotten a bunch more money in there than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see what he does.
Mhm.
Okay, I would still consider c-betting here.
Yeah.
Versus this player, versus
Sure.
versus a wide range. I think we can continuation bet. I would just probably go a third, or maybe
Yeah.
maybe even a half. I might even size up. I mean, I don't think in theory you would be doing much sizing up here at all. It would be check or bet small.
Yeah.
I would imagine. So that's what I would do.
Yeah, your particular hand doesn't want to size up, but
No, exactly. I mean, against this player, maybe it does. Like
yeah, exactly.
exploitatively, I think we might be
Yeah.
able to size up.
Yep. He sizes huge.
Yeah, he goes pot.
Right.
So I'm sure he's going to call.
No, not to that size. So what he's managed to do is again make the minimum money. This is the guy who did it with, I think this is the guy who managed to do that in the other hand also.
Yeah,
Managed to get the minimum to not
the
give
king 7.
Yeah, that was, I think, him. I think. All right. That's Mike. Mel, you're up.
Hero fold. Villain 16 should fold, is probably calling. Check to fold.
But he doesn't.
Oh. Queen check, I don't know, I would just check behind. I'm not sure if it's a great raising hand. I mean, maybe against these two guys, yes, but
Given what you've seen of this, Jack Queen is so hot, so far ahead of Villain 16's range, and Villain 20's range is so capped, having, assuming Villain 20 knows anything about Villain 16.
so then also like five big blinds.
Yeah, 5 or 6. Sure. I think this Jack Deuce, by the way, is a very bad call, even knowing how bad Villain 16 is as a player. And then
Shouldn't
still-
there be actually no calls from the
Yeah.
small blind? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Well, no, you can complete. If someone makes the mistake of this, you can complete lots of suited hands here. There's lots of hands that want to just complete and not raise. But Jack Deuce, I think, is just not one of them.
Okay.
I like that. I
They
think it should
should-
be bigger.
Say what?
I like this. I think it should be bigger.
Bigger, yes.
The guy called a 5. The guy called a raise, That, here we go. Okay, so he calls, of course. Now's the fold. And of course, we get out flopped.
Queen check. I don't know, maybe bet third pot, villain 19.
Sure. He goes big.
Oh,
Sort of trying to get a clean answer, I guess, is what his thought process is.
I don't know what villain 16 is going to do. He's probably going to he might
You do
even
know what he's gonna do. You know exactly what he's gonna do, Mel. Speak with confidence. You know exactly what he's gonna do.
I mean, in the other hand, he folded after a pot size bet. And he only had middle pair, I think.
Yep. But
So
this is
it's a little
two-thirds
bit
pot.
smaller, yeah.
Yeah.
So then he's maybe calling.
Yeah, he's calling. He's never raising. He's calling.
Villain 19 should bet third pot.
Okay, let me say one thing about the sizing there. So I think he should bet. And just one thing about the sizing, which is there is a lot in the solver where if you bet big on the flop, you bet small on the turn. And if you bet small on the flop, you bet big on the turn. That isn't always the case, but it's a pattern we see a lot. So you definitely want to consider that one and see, does it fit?
But he only bet 3/4 pot, right, on the flop.
Oh, that's right. He did bet, but yeah, no, you're right. He bet 2/3 of the pot. So yeah, so betting small here makes sense. I forgot. I thought he bet small. Yeah, so okay.
Okay. Well, I
That's
didn't
all.
know about this, but
Yeah. So he bets medium.
Okay. Well, villain 16 should fold. Maybe he thinks he's onto something with the 10 now, but he's
Nope,
not.
nope.
Okay,
No,
yeah,
he
he
folds. He folds, so this is great. Good for
Okay.
villain 19. And the question is, if no diamond cubs, can villain 19 pull the trigger on the river? If villain 16 did call.
Hmm.
And should he? I think he should. All right.
If there's, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, so here we go. This is me. It should go fold raise, and then the king queen should be doing some three betting and some calling, no folding.
Yeah,
But
he's a poster, Scotty.
oh, he's a poster. Oh, let's see what he does then. If he raises his post, he raises his post a stupid number. So with that stupid number, the nines should never fold and should do some raising and some calling. Everyone else should fold. Let's see what a deuce five does to this. Deuce five. Finally, he folds a hand. All right.
I don't know if it's necessarily a stupid number though, because that would be a standard raise in a lot of. I mean,
You're right.
A reg isn't going to post, but a min raise from early positions is kind of a standard size.
You're totally right. I was completely wrong. All right. So this is a stupid size.
That's a stupid size.
All right, good. We've agreed on some size being stupid. Okay. And now I'm going to give a tiny, tiny speech about this as a general principle in poker. Poker is in general a game of polarization. Which is that small, timid moves are generally not good. There are exceptions to this, of course. So tiny raises are not good. Calls are okay, but the bigger moves, fold is a polarized move. Raise big is a polarized move. There are times that we do linear things. And I'm not talking here using the word polarized, like as in having a polarized range. I just mean that when you bet big, better players probably bet even bigger than you. When you bet small, better players probably bet even smaller than you. And this is that mushy little fluff raise. And we don't do that. Okay, that's my speech. Fold. And the king queen is priced in. He should not fold. Calls. King queen should be checking range here. He does. Nines absolutely can bet here. And they can bet third pot, half pot. They can also check behind as marginally made and call a bet. They can do either one. He checks behind. As long as he's not intending to fold to the next card, that's fine. There's the ace. Now he may have to fold. King queen now has picked up a gut shot and can bet it, but that ace is the card that hits the nine nines range so much. That's the cards that he checks behind, his ace king and his ace queen. So I think that this would be kind of suicidal. All right, Melanie says, let me look over here in the things. Melanie says, Jack high boards were a fold in the other study group. Or is this different for the ante? Jack high board, Melanie, Jack high boards were a fold in what context?
If we have like a lower pair, but also if we're out of position.
Oh, no, those were folds yeah, if the other guy bets, and we were not the three better. In the study group,
Yeah.
when we did that, we raised, got three bet and called with a pair. So we were out of position, had to decide to do it with nines and sixes and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, then I got it wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, very different, not to mention just tournament stuff. Okay, so with all that, if I were the king queen, I would be checking the ace, hoping for a check behind, and calling depending on the size of his bet. But he doesn't want to do that. He bets out. And I think this is terrible for nines. I think nines should have checked behind on the flop in intending to call lots of turns, but not this turn. Yep. So there you go. All right. Richie, are you back? 2, 3, 4. Nope. All right. Let me see if I can order this. I'll put Mike there. I can't. So it's Mac. So Larry. So Larry, you're going to be up after Mel. Mike, you're up.
Alrighty. All right. What should happen is ace four can raise on the button. King jack can defend by either three betting or calling. But we know what ace five is going to get in here. So when he does get in here, and he gets in here by what? Limping?
Damn right.
But go ahead and show me. Okay, so he limps. Ace four on the button. All right. So here's where we start to think about real exploitation. This guy's clearly a whale, villain 16.
Yep.
Ace four would not be something I would ISO. I wouldn't limp behind. I would just fold it to most like unknown limpers. However, we have identified this player as an absolute whale. I think this might push me up to isolating with a much greater range of hands. I don't know if in game if I would have like maybe figured this out yet or whatever, but either way, if it was an unknown, just fold the ace four, see what he does.
Right. If you were playing at this table, you would have noticed this by now. Remember, he's shown down two of those. He's shown down that 7-9 suited and that 4-6 offsuit have both been shown down.
Yeah.
You
So
know
if I had noticed, like I said, I would probably start to think about isolating this player with a hand as bad as ace four.
Yep. And this guy has noticed.
So then it should go fold, fold. I don't think King Jack wants to start re-ISOing wide, thinking that a reg's doing this, but he
Right.
should fold, and ace five is probably just going to call.
But he calls to play out against two
I
players.
don't think it's a good call. I think it's very, very borderline. Definite. I mean, because you're calling. If you are calling, it's because you know villain 16 is really bad, and you're just trying to get into pots, but you're going to be out of position to two players. I would just fold it.
Right. Now, in a similar situation, I called, but it was ace jack, not king jack. Still one of the dominated hands, but not as dominated.
Yeah. And
Right.
I would get on board if, there was some meta here. I could see three betting King Jack,
Mhm.
basically thinking that villain 19's range here, ISOing this guy over here, is going to be like a normal button range and maybe even wider now. And so I would use King Jack as if villain 16 wasn't even in the pot and
Right.
villain 19 opens. I'm going to take King Jack and three bet it half the time anyway. I
Right.
think you can possibly start to have that thought.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yep.
So we go three-way. Interesting flop for the big blind.
Mm-hmm.
Not because of his hand, but just because of the flop itself. Um, uh, theory says this would be kind of dockable, but we're well beyond theory.
That's a heads up. That's a heads up thing. We don't know.
Yeah, no,
We
and it
don't know
also
about
does build it in. I know
Right.
the Prometheus, the multi-way solver, does build in donk bets on similar boards like this. It's not quite as prevalent as if it were heads up, but it does exist, and it's like somewhat significant still. But I just wouldn't do it in this situation just because you're not dealing with two theory theory
Yeah.
type people. So it should go check, check. And check, yeah, I'm on the button ISO. I think I would just ace four is not going to be anything I would start making plays with multi-way.
Yeah. This is ace five's board, not yours. And by ace five, I don't mean his hand. I mean the guy who has ace five. This is his board, not yours. He's the one who's limping with this stuff. Yeah. And you don't know what the big blind is in there with. Well,
He is just running hot as fuck.
so now we get comedy.
Yeah, so King Jack's just basically he's done with his hand. Ace five. Let's see what he does. If it were me, and I happen to be here, I would bet, and I wouldn't bet a single big blind.
Mhm.
But he does. And ace four should fold. King Jack should fold.
King Jack should not fold for one big blind.
I see no reason to stick around. Why would we stick
For the
around?
10,
Oh, you're right. You do have a gut shot.
you got a gut shot.
Yeah, a gut
And you
shot.
have and you have a very special
What would
gut shot.
be good to the nut, kind of a nuttish gut shot too. So yeah, you're
Nice
right.
gut shot. And it brings the straight on the board, so you might get a chop call from somebody. It's not the nuts. There's the jack queen and all like that. I agree. It could come with the club, the 10 of clubs, which is bad for you, but you do have the jack, all those things. But it's one big
Yeah,
blind.
but 2 of 1 big blind bet. You're right. That's you should call here. You're just getting direct odds to it.
You're just getting it. And maybe there's a 5 that comes in and you don't lose with that. 4. Okay. So he checks. Ace five. It's you. I don't know how you got here, but you're here with ace five.
I
What do you-
sat down. Oh, well, that if I wouldn't know how we got here. So I would be like, have I just called to get here? Have I been aggressive to
You
get
know
here?
exactly how you got here. You got here with this. What happened was you were watching a friend play. And on this, they turn to you and they said, what should I do? And you say, excuse me, one player per hand. And they say, we're playing online. And you say, okay, what do you
All right,
suggest?
Scotty, you're being a little ridiculous with your hypotheticals.
I am. But still, what is his best, given this line, what is his best play just from poker knowledge?
So, I
What do you
mean, depending on other villains, I guess you could block bet here and get called by some worse hands, and you would be folding to any raise.
Yeah.
So, or you could potentially check and call.
Yep.
I don't
What's
know
your
about
block
check
bet
call.
size?
I think block and fold would be better than check call.
And what's your block bet size for this?
Like a third, like I'd probably go like 5.
Yeah, 4, 5, 6. I'm happy with any of those. 15. That seems like the worst of all choices
Yeah.
because that happens. Okay, he does that. All right, up next is Mel.
For three fold.
Mhm.
Villain 19 could raise.
Mhm.
2.5.
Right?
Kings-
Should he make the adjustment and start raising bigger with a hand like this, knowing that villain 16 is
Yes.
calling any two cards?
Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe 3.5, 4.4.
Yeah, I like it. It goes to 3, sure.
King 6 fold, Queen 2 fold,
Yep.
and King 7 is calling.
Right, and it's a good call.
The first.
This
Yeah.
is first good call. That's a good call.
Proving.
Right. Now you in this situation, facing a 3 big blind bet with king 7 suited, 100 big blinds deep. You're never folding this, right?
No.
Are you ever raising king 7 suited here against a cutoff?
Against the cutoff. I don't know. I don't think so.
On 2.5, you might. Let's just look at it real quick. Under
Yeah.
3, cutoff raise of 3. Let's just look what that big blind response is.
King
Oh, wait a
7.
minute. Those are full. It's got calls in between. This is what we want. There we go. There's that big blind response. Yeah, you can do it a little bit.
Ah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there's that common region that always mixes there,
Yeah.
different frequencies, but this region down here, this region here, as they get later, are there. So, all right. That's no surprise.
Villain 16 should maybe bet pot.
Okay, so remember, you've been raised, you're here. You flop top pair with no kicker, you're out of position. And this is a board. Does this look to you like a board where the big blind should have a donking range?
Probably not.
Let's just check range here. But he does the worst of all things.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, my reasoning was to get out things that were waiting for improving to a street.
Yep.
That was my rate sizing idea, but yeah, I didn't realize that we're in the out of position.
Right. So that thought that you have there of charging the straight draws is fine, but the more effective, let's go, poker is a game of bold colors. Check raise is better than check raise is a better way to do it than donking. Now you can decide whether king 7 is enough to check raise. It's top pair. You can do it. It's shitty kicker. You might find out you're in bad shape, but if you're gonna do that move, it's a better check raise than it is a donk.
Okay.
I believe.
Yes.
Right, here we go. But he does the worst of all worlds. That, and now here you are facing this with ace 8. What should you do?
I would probably just call it.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Sure. That's the thing about people who make these one big blind bets. They're going to be nibbling and getting a lot of one big blind calls, but they're also giving people pot odds for things like this.
Yeah,
You know, if he bets one again, this ace can call.
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he's doing
Good.
that. KS, and
He bets
then
one.
ace eight can still.
Yeah. There we go. And it didn't happen for him.
Hmm.
Yep. And then he bets.
5.
We've now seen him do this before
Yeah.
with a one-liner. I mean, it's just he's making sure that he doesn't get, you know, the call there. He makes himself too vulnerable to the person who slow plays the one-liner, and he doesn't get calls with this.
Yeah.
Seems really bad. All right, Larry, you're up. Larry is muted. Let me hit my ask Larry to unmute button, give him 4 seconds, and then I will take this one. And then Larry, if you come in, you'll get the next one. All right.
Okay,
Villain-
I'm ready.
Oh, you're good. Okay, this is you.
Can you-
Whoa!
how's my
Whoa.
microphone?
Holy
Sounds great.
smokes! Listen to that.
Sounds great.
Clear as a bell?
Yes. so good.
Unbelievable.
Oh,
Yeah.
good work, good work. Okay,
Yeah.
so ace jack gets to open here.
Yep.
Just put out a big blind, big blind. I think defends with the flat here. He's a broken stack. Who knows what we're gonna see here?
So with his broken stack, I think that pushes his re-raise ratio up higher with ace queen rather than call.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the value of his hand is greater.
Yep.
At this stack depth because of less reverse supply dots.
Right. And his suited hands go down in value. Therefore, something has to take their place to get the right frequency. And ace queen is perfect. But that's not what's going to happen, because what's going to happen from villain 16? What's he going to do? He's going to call.
Oh, very interesting. So now I think now you're in the range of wanting to squeeze. I think it, I mean, who knows, right? But I would squeeze to, I mean, I'm not gonna play this 40 big blinds. If I would squeeze to 15 big blinds.
Yeah. I like it. Squeeze big. And because now here's the magic of this hand. This is really neat, which is if your natural squeeze size here should be 9 big blinds, 12 big blinds, plus a unit for being out of position, 15. 15 is more than a third of your stack. Therefore,
In theory, you should just shove.
just shove. Just shove 40 big blinds deep. I like it. I think it's the best. I think theory says it's the best play. I think it's a good play against population. And now we do one adjustment. Is it a good play against villain 16? I think it's not.
You want to keep them in the hands?
I think, yeah. I think we should make the adjustment and go 15 and not shove, even though, because villain 16 can fold to a shove, we assume. But we've seen him call to 15 with hands that are so inferior to ace queen that I think that that's a good move.
I can see that.
But what about doing the worst possible thing? Would you like to do that?
Yeah, this is very strange. I mean, obviously this has no strategic purpose.
Nope.
Doesn't serve you at all. Everybody's
Nope.
getting pot odds.
Yep.
So H jack now, I think. I mean, H jack could exploitatively with his uncapped range try to capture this.
Yeah.
And go to maybe 15 himself. I mean, I wouldn't mind doing that. You now maybe go heads up and you're playing in position and you might take it down 3.
Interesting though that you think that when I said king 7 was going to call a bet of 15 from here, that you as villain 19 now have changed your mind and said that 15 will get him out and I'll get to go heads up in position.
Well, honestly, didn't hear you say that.
Yeah,
So.
it's like one of you don't know which of those two things is true, but you know both can't be true. So as villain 19, make a bold choice and decide which of those is true, and then base your strategy on that belief and execute it. Just decide what that is.
Yeah, I would, I don't know if I would be able to do it. But I like it because you want to take this heads up. You prefer to be heads up.
Okay. Right,
So,
now, here's the difference with the ace queen, why the ace queen of raising to 15 made sense, and I think the ace jack makes much, much, much less sense. The ace queen had a reasonable chance of getting villain 19 to fold and getting heads up against villain 16, who we know calls too wide, in position. It's so many good things for happen for him. Villain 19 can be pretty confident that villain 20 is not folding. And all he can get to fold is the guy who he has crushed.
yeah,
So-
well, maybe,
Yeah.
you know, I think, well, let's just look at equities.
Mhm.
So if you fold out king 7 here, you're gaining back 31% equity. That's gonna be split between your combo and the combo of big blind. Well, obviously that's mostly gonna go to ace queen here,
Mhm.
but I don't mind denying equity to 32% or 31%.
How big do you want to go then?
I think 15 in position here.
Okay, I think 15 may not get him out, but it might, because this guy can re-raise. We'll see. But he just calls.
So, now we're like in a weird space. Obviously, I'm not gonna play this way. But, our SPR is 2, essentially 2 and
2.5.
change.
Yeah.
And so you can bet small, or you can kind of like a check raise here. Might want, I mean, if I was ace queen, I don't know. Well, you just, yeah, I don't know. Who knows? I'm never gonna be here.
Yeah.
Let's
The
move
nice thing
forward with
about
life.
the nice thing about the check raise is if it goes bet raise, you're getting all in. You don't care. But that gets villain 16 out. Bet raise
Yeah.
gets him. If you check and there's a bet from this guy and a call here, then your check raise is great because you've trapped some money. We love that. And if it goes check, 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 you have top 2. It's not the worst thing in the world. You don't love that there's a flush draw in there, but flush draw is coming along with you anyway. It's going to get there.
Yeah.
And at this, you know, flush draw is going all in with you now anyway, so. But he decides that he wants life to be simple.
Yeah, so your ace jack now is really confused.
Mhm.
And I think, I don't know, I can't know what to do here because I think I'd be influenced by seeing the hand too much. Well, I don't know.
I
I
think
don't
I
know.
call.
I
I-
generally, I think, yeah, I don't know.
I think if I'm ace jack here, somehow with this situation, I don't think I fold. I think I call. And just lose. But again, we see how villain 20 is really making it impossible for people to play very wrong.
Yeah,
Yep. Okay, here we go. Skate or die. And we,
Okay.
how did
Uh-huh.
that happen? I don't know how that happened. There we go. And now are we looking down our nose at, because we thought villain 19 was the best player at the table. And now we're not sure. We're just happy it wasn't us. All right. So 9-7 suited.
9-7 suited. Generally, okay, we're broken stack. We're gonna fold.
Good point.
Fold this, yeah. Yeah, yeah, pretty much
At
fold
the
around.
first fold,
Yeah.
and our first fold from villain 16 in a while.
Yeah, 3-8 offsuit.
That happened. All right, there we go. All right. Up next is, I gotta hit the zoom button, so. Let's do this. Let's go. I want to be in. Nope, I can't see the Zoom people. So up next after skate is me. Zoom has decided to stop showing me the list. Okay, so this should go fold, fold, raise. fair amount of folding, some calling there. The ace nine suited should be three betting this, and the ace jack suited under the tight configuration of this and this, he should fold to the three bet, but that's not what's gonna happen. The king ten is gonna limp. We'll see if the ace nine suited ISOs, and against an ISO, the ace jack suited could three bet. And he could even call. So here we go. There's the call. This brings in the four is for call. I think this is gonna bring in this guy at a call. He does, and now the ace jack suited should jump on this with both muddy feet and go to 3, 4, 5, 6, right? 6 is his theory size. He should go up to 10 and get this guy to call for 10. He is not seeing the exploit. I think these fours should not be folding here. He's got such good set mining odds now. I think this is bad. And the ace nine? I don't know. Ace 10 shouldn't fold. Ace king shouldn't be in the situation and should now do a weird back raise. He should do whatever the hell he wants. I don't know. He does that. Right. Now we're in this multi-way pot. In the sandwich, ace nine should be checking range. Ace jack should be doing a lot of checking here. If he chooses to bet, he can. He goes for the big bet. King 10 needs to fold to this. And the ace nine, if it were not multi-way or this was smaller, he could call with his backdoors. But this is probably too much to pay for backdoors. All right, there we go. Up next is Richie if he wants it. And Richie's not there, so we go to Mike. And I'm gonna do,
Big blind.
I'm gonna turn my
small-
screen share off for 1 second and then reshare it to see if that will make Zoom act the way I want it to. Yes, there we go. Okay, good. Mike,
So
you're up.
should get around to the small blind. You can raise ace six in the big blind, defending by calling or three betting. But let's see what villain 16 does. I guess he's gonna limp.
Right, so let's see. The ace six is gonna do a lot of three betting there. About like 50% three bets there. Okay, I think. But it's gonna go limp first and that's gonna change everything.
Now that you're 10 jack, I would not fold here with knowing about villain 16. I would probably be ISOing now. So I would make it 5.
Okay. Would you consider completing?
I would consider it and then I'd make it 5.
Okay, good for you. And again, he does it, but he does it too small.
Because I don't want to play a multi-way pot with 10 jack off. I'd encourage the big blind to fold here.
Yep, should be bigger. But I think that's enough for me, knowing that he's now missing the bottom of his small blind raising range, just as absolute crap. I think ace six can fold.
And again, so here we are. If this were folded around to villain 19 and he raises here and you're with ace six and you normally three bet this, like you said, a good chunk of the time, maybe we can just consider keeping that strategy. If you're going to three bet a hand in the big blind here, you just basically forget about the whale over there if you don't want to play a multi-way pot with him. And in this case, you wouldn't care about playing a multi-way pot with him. You'd rather just take it down now or play in position against villain 19. I think you still can stick to your normal strategy.
Okay, I like that. Now here's my counter argument. Because my raise to my normal raising size against him is going to be against a 3.5. By the way, if it gets to 3.5, I think that this ace six starts to shrink up.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, let's see.
In theory, it does. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, we don't even have a 3.5 here yet. Oh no, it's small blind. No, small blind. It's fine. Yeah. No, I can do this raise. I did it wrong. Yeah. So this is fine. My normal raise size against this is going to be 10.5-ish, 11, something like that. Villain 16 has shown a willingness to call those. Now, granted, he's calling them with substandard hands, but now I'm I'm now gonna be playing an inflated pot out of position with ace six. I think that I think I get away from this one.
Yep. Yeah, good
Um,
counter.
Yeah, that's why is that if this three bet is fine if I trap his dead money. But I'm gonna be, well, I'm gonna be sandwich. I'm not gonna be doubly out of position. I'm gonna be sandwich, which is not so bad. I still, yeah, well, I did it, so obviously I think it's the right thing to do. All right,
All right, so we get to here. Yeah, I'm just gonna c bet this flop if I'm 10 jack.
Yep.
Expect to get called a lot, even
Mm-hmm.
with a whole bunch of stuff.
Yep. This size seems too big for a
It
paired board.
does. I mean, in theory, it's probably not a size that you're gonna use, but like against this villain, I think your c bets are gonna start sizing up.
Yep.
No matter what they are. And now with this turn, I would continue and I would make it probably B75.
He gives up. The one thing that this larger bet does for him is it does thin villain 16's range a lot on a board that has no draws. You know, nothing even resembling a draw. So he gives
Yeah,
up.
we've just seen it. It doesn't seem to matter.
Yeah.
He could have a queen, he could have an ace, he could have, he could have 7-9, he could have
We
9. Huh?
Here's the thing though, we haven't seen that. We in the hands shown down, we haven't seen it, and even in the hands face up, we have not seen him calling the flop with nothing. I mean, he called it with a pair, with that six, but it was a pair. We've seen him call pre-flop with anything. We have not seen him call the flop yet with nothing.
Yeah.
So, and given that nothing here is, I mean, and given here that something is an eight, a king, or a pocket pair, because I don't think an ace to him is something at this point. We don't know that, but we'll see. Anyway, he gives up, and our guy now goes for, I guess, value of against a queen. There we go. All right, Melanie. Why do you do that? This is your hand, Melanie. Is that right? Yes, here's your hand.
Okay. It should fold to king 7, villain 19. He should raise. Villain 19.
Yep, we're not going to get there though because Jack 8 is going to limp before then. So I'm just letting you finish what you say that
Okay.
hero or
Okay.
villain should do, because that ain't going to be what happens.
Okay. And then hero can limp behind. And
Most
ace.
people-
Hmm?
Yep. King's, there is a limping range behind on the button. I don't think King 7 suited is going to be robustly in it. But I don't have a limping range, so I'm going to raise or fold, and King 7, I think I'm going to fold.
And it's a fold. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think I'm going to do here. So assuming that the button goes to 3, which is what he's going to do. My small blind, yeah, King 7 is out of there.
But in general, if there's several limpers in the pot, does it make it easier for the small blind to call, or is it still?
If this went limp to the King 7 small blind, I would be completing it at a minimum. I would be doing some 3-betting with it. But maybe I would do my 3-bets at King 9 and up. But I would absolutely call a King 9 suited, a King 7 suited against a limp. But that's different. If it went raise and call, I would just fold.
Yeah.
If it went limp and raise, which is what it should do, I'm going to fold.
Yeah.
There's
So
your
villain
limp.
19 should raise.
There's your
then
raise.
hero should fold.
Yep.
And ace 2, can defend.
He should fold, though. He's
He
going to
can
be doubly out
defend
of
ace
position.
3. Can he defend ace 3 off?
I wouldn't.
Ace
I mean, I would look here in the offsuit ace branch at sort of the suited ace branch can call, and the offsuit ace branch should be raise or fold-ish,
Okay. Yeah.
But certainly not ace deuce, ace 3. No. Consider ace 5 offsuit as a bluff if you think that this guy is wide, because you've seen it. You've seen this guy raising this guy a lot.
Yeah.
you
So
can-
defend only from like ace 10 off, maybe.
Yeah, and that's, and defend mostly by raising. But he calls, which means that this guy is 100% calling, we know that. And here we go. Finally, some tiny bit of justice, tiny bit of justice, not much.
Okay, so Villain 15 could bet small.
You can. What's sort of our default situation in three-way pots from first up?
We check.
Yeah. And do you see a reason to violate that on this board? You don't know what their hands are, but just on this
No,
board.
because I have a crappy ace. Like maybe somebody was raising with a better ace.
So, yep. Seems like a
Okay.
really good check.
Check, Villain 16 check behind.
Mhm.
And King 7 could see a cheap turn cut.
He can. He can also bet as a draw with his gut shot and his backdoor
And
and his
backdoor.
2 overs to the jack 10.
Yeah.
That'd be fine too.
But then maybe like third pot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Third pot. Third pot be a great bet from him. Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
Makes it a little hard for
Um,
this guy because he's got another guy to play behind him.
Yeah. Nevertheless, he could still call this one.
Yep, he does.
And he's anyway going to call.
Second pair is enough for him on the flop.
Okay, this doesn't really change anything. Villain 15 could check again. Villain 16 probably check. King 7, I don't know. Check.
Yep, I like it. After 2 callers, you've gotten your answer. I don't think that this is a good bluff against 2 players. And you might get there. But he decides he wants the pot.
Hmm.
And he may get it.
Villain 15 should be careful now. I don't know, he still got the highest card. I mean, he doesn't know that. I mean, he could be up against ace jack, ace 10, jack 10, and so on.
Yeah.
But I suppose he's going to call it.
Yeah. If it were me, I'd fold here. I'd fold the best hand here.
Yeah.
If I got here this way, I'd fold this. Yep.
Okay.
And aggression works. And you'll notice villain 16, although we shouldn't know this, called middle pair once, folded it to a medium-sized bet.
On the
on
turn.
That seems to be in his MO, but we don't know that playing against him. We just know that he's playing way, way too wide and calling way too many raises pre-flop and seeing and calling a fair number of flops. That's all we know. All right.
Yeah.
So after Melanie is, I think, Larry. Yep. And Richie, if you come back, Richie, just yell when you're back and I'll put you back in the list.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
So in this hand, it should fall around to big blind and you should just take it. No one has a hand good enough to play.
That's what should happen, except that this guy's posted, so the big blind can't take it. They were at least gonna see. a flop.
There's a post, you're right. So I don't think anybody has a hand good enough to go after this.
Nope. Ace 4 could stretch and go after it because he's gonna get called by villain 16 with a much worse hand, and villain 17 has a terrible hand, so he only has to worry about the 2 of us. So he
Yeah.
could. I don't love it, but he should do it big, and he's not going big enough here. All right.
Yeah, so he's gonna try to
But all
steal.
right, it's easy.
Jack 6 playing out of position. So I guess maybe we compare this to cutoff versus big blind. In our case, this is ridiculous. I mean,
Yeah, no, we knew he was calling. We knew he was calling.
so Jack 6, I think, is just really, I mean, he's a broken stack. He's got 30 bigs.
Yep.
He should just fold.
He should just fold, yeah. Maybe, I mean, Jack 9 and Jack 10 probably shouldn't.
Yeah,
8.
suited, yes.
Yeah, suited, only suited. Jack 8. Jacks, Jack 6 definitely fold, Jack 7 and Jack 8 think about it, Jack 9 and Jack 10 don't fold. That's my hierarchy of the world.
Okay,
But once again, bad play is rewarded.
so let's check around to villain 19. Okay, donk, so donk size is important here.
Mhm.
Let's look, and also the nature of the pot, which is multi-way. And also, yeah, so, ace four should probably fold here, excuse me. Ace
Oh,
four should
yeah.
fold.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. All right, after Larry is skate. Do we still have skate?
Maybe.
We do. Yep, there you are.
All right. King 9 off in the no, fold. Ace 9 definitely open, ace 9 suited. Let's open that and it should take it. So let's take the button. Yeah, take the button.
Right, but the king 9 has decided that he wants to be in lots of hands against villain 16 with anything. That's what he's just not. I don't mean any two cards, but I mean with anything, and a king is a thing. And that's what he wants.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could, I mean, yeah, 47, 43 is a pretty high stat.
Yeah.
Either way, I mean, we still have 2 players left to act, so let's just call.
Call is good.
Or
The
I
raise
mean,
is not wrong. The raise
it's
is
not
not
wrong.
absolutely not wrong. That's
I,
fine.
I, I don't
Makes
mind it.
Right.
I don't mind it. I mean, here, if we are gonna raise, this is probably, I would say, the earliest position we probably can raise. Of course, if we had, unless we had a hand on the cutoff, if we were the cutoff. But yeah.
Yeah. This works.
Mhm.
Right. And now villain 16, he's not going to call this, is he? He's not going to call this. He's certainly going to call this.
No,
Good. Okay.
no way, no way.
And the king 9, yeah. Great. All right, up next after skate, if the world is the way I think it is me. All right, here we go. This should go fold, 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 fold around. I would not be surprised to see this Jack 8 open now. He doesn't. Okay, so now it just folds around. I shouldn't be. I don't think I should. I think I should stretch my ace 4 in the cutoff, but not here. This is too early. But I'm going to. I'm going to go to like 4 or 5 here. Look at this. Nope, I fold. Okay, good. And then he should fold, but he's going to limp. Jack 3 should fold to the limp. He doesn't. He completes. 9-3 should check and see the free flop. He does. And outflop them. In this, it should go check, and the 9-3 can consider betting. Mostly he should check call. And the reason I say should consider betting is that he's not donking here. This is a jump ball. No one has done an aggressive action yet. And so but he does that. That's fine. The Jack 4 checks behind. Now with the 3, when this one big blind bet, the 9-3, does he want to raise here? He wants more money in there. It's a rainbow. There is no bad next card for him, except for 10 and a 4. No. This guy said, I think he can raise to 3 or 4. 8. That's too much. He's giving the guy way too much credit for having something. So once again, these guys both have done this thing of managed to make the minimum amount of money with their best hands. All right. Up next is Richie if he's here, and he's not. 2, 3, 4. So we're at Mike.
Okay, it should fold around to king deuce is probably can be a raise there. If I remember right, king
100%,
suited king on
100%.
the small blind is going to be
Oh
a
yeah,
raise.
king deuce
So
queen.
we'll raise there. What's going to happen is that queen 7 is going to limp, and then let's see if 4-8 comes along. He's been kind of goofy. King deuce. Now that you got the limp, I would not fold it. I would probably complete this one.
Complete
I
sometime.
could see
and
getting
ISO
away with
sometime.
like an ISO here. You got a good blocker with the king. It's just that your kicker's the absolute worst, but
Yep.
I could see either being fine.
Right. But remember, this guy has 7-4 offsuit also in his range. And we know that. He knows that. So that I think pushes us to the ISO a bit more than the call, but never the fold. All right,
All right, so we're gonna get to see a flop. Should go check, and then villain 16 is gonna, let's see what his sizing is now that he's got top pair.
top pair
He's
and
got
the queen of diamonds.
premium.
He's got everything.
So he checks. He doesn't go with his little one
No.
big blind.
He waits for the other guy to perhaps get a better hand.
Jack 3 would consider should consider stabbing here, probing. I don't know what they're gonna do. If
What's
it
your
were
probe
me-
size in this
If it were
situation?
me, I probably, there's a lot of hands that are still gonna be able to call you, but probably doesn't matter. If I were to probe, I'd go either B50 or B75.
Yes, okay, 1.25, 1.5, 1.75, big blind, something like that.
Is
He
what I
checks.
would do. He checks, just Queen 7 check. Probably could bet if he wants. He
Yep.
checks. If it were me with Jack 3, I would be betting. I would be betting B75. And
He doesn't.
now if I were Queen 7, can we get value from other hands? You're going to reopen the action for more than half pot, probably just check. So probably just check it.
I could bet one big blind here.
Yeah, and we're going against our, like I said, if you're gonna
Yeah.
open it for more than B50, just check. But if you want to exploit and go for a smaller size, I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, I can do that. And I'm also considering one big blind as half pot. I'm considering one big blind, 1.2 and 1.5 as the exact same bets. And they're okay. So that's what happens. All right. After Mike is Melanie.
Villain 15 fold, villain 16 raises,
Mhm.
villain 17 fold, villain 18 should fold, small blind fold, big blind fold.
What should happen? Here we go. We are 2/3 of the way through this thing. So we're gonna get to this. We're gonna get through this session in this one. And 2/3 of the way through, I have built up a mental picture of villain 16, a detailed mental picture live. I remember this. This is only a week old. So a lot of the things I'm saying here are not because I'm seeing the hands here. The way he's playing is the way I thought he was playing. So I have a pretty accurate mental picture of villain 16, and it has done me no good, none at all. Let's see if that can change. So up next is Larry.
All right, villain 16, our special person is going to open. I maybe. Okay, we get a limp.
Yeah. That's a strong.
So
Expected, but yeah, there you go.
I don't think, well, I don't think you want to play 10-3 in the small blind. I
I
think it's,
think. Oh, hold on. Something's gonna happen. This is close because I know that villain 16's range is that 10-3 does okay against his range. I might do this. 10-6 easy. 10-6 easy. 10-3. All right, I go for it.
all right,
Yeah.
option check.
Yeah,
Nice flop.
nice flop.
I don't think you need to donk here.
Yes, but remember, let's use our terminology right because to get our thinking right, it's not a donk.
What would you describe it as?
A lead because no one has raised. No one has taken initiative.
Okay,
So I don't have to bet here, but our normal things of the way we think of donks, this isn't that situation.
okay.
So that's
So,
what I want to say.
It's gonna pull around to villain 16. He's 4 ways and he's good check.
Mhm. If I don't bet, I don't mind this checking around. There are cards that are bad for me, but there aren't a lot, but they're not very bad for me. There's no flush draw out there.
Rainbow boards.
It, it can't turn, there could be straight. They could come in, but whatever.
If you're going to bet from a small blind on flop multi-way, this is certainly the hand to do it with, but,
This one I chose.
For
not to.
check raise given an opportunity.
There we go.
Don't get it.
That's a bad card for me.
Yeah, it's not an ideal card.
That's a card for me.
I see still with the bet here. Well, it's a good card in the fact there's no flush available. I think I would, what would I do here? I think I'd probably bet 2.
Sure. How about 3?
Okay, so I know villain 16 has, almost any 2 cards here. And I don't like the 9. I think what happens with a person who has any 2 cards is that, they've got a lot of trash they can bluff. He's got a filtered range because I did bet on turn. But everything that I would think he would call around it's a draw, like the wrap, like a jack 8 or like a 8-7 missed.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of wouldn't mind inducing a bet here.
Right.
On the paired board, just check and then call like a little 2 dancing and 2 passive.
Okay.
But also I'm not very happy about the repeat 9.
All right. So all that's true, but now I want to point out something else. Look at his stats. V86, raise of 5, 3-bet 0, and every other aggressive factor 0. Is this the kind of guy who turns his missed straights into a bluff, just in general? I don't mean he has no bluffs, but is this a guy who does that?
I wasn't here for the first hour, so you guys know more about this gentleman than I do. So, our lady. So I
mean, just look at his stats.
I think you have a valid point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's 86-0-5. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
And his
86-5.
aggression factor, which really we can't talk about over. How
Right.
many hands have you played with villain 16?
23.
Yeah, we don't, aggression factor doesn't help us. So, yeah, you have a valid point. You
Yeah.
certainly have a valid point. This is a very passive player.
Right. But I also don't mind, I'm looking at what hand am I trying to get called by here? And it's a 3.
And also I'm being kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a little bit fancy. I think we can value that. It might be also a little bit too scared of the 9 against such a wide range.
If I bet, I'm going to bet small because I want to get called by a 3.
Yeah.
And I go for the check. And I leave 3 big blinds on the table from my weak play. It's hard to give him a 10, here. It's not hard to give him a 9. It's hard to give him 8s the way he played it. So yeah, it's a 3.
Yeah. I
Yep.
think 3's fine.
Okay. There's Larry. After Larry is Skate.
Okay, let's open the 9s. 2.5
I don't know where
to
this
3.
came from. We have a new friend. He has a new friend.
Ooh, we gotta ISO this. We don't
Yeah.
have, I mean,
Oh,
yeah, actually, yeah. Well, 9s. Yeah.
That's ISO. So you with pocket pair like this, never fold, and we have a question. Do we want to call behind, totally GTO reasonable, totally logic reasonable, totally population reasonable, and try to flop a set? Or do we want to try to ISO with a good hand? I think that the line around the ISO thing, where you think about, just calling behind, deuces, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s.
Yeah.
Seven.
That's what I was thinking. 7s
8s-ish,
plus.
9s-ish, 10s, no. So I'm going to put 9s. I'm going to say that think about 8s and 7s.
Yeah.
And 9s, don't do it.
I like that.
Especially when villain 16 is going to call the ISO with a hand way worse than 9s.
Mhm.
So he goes for it. Too small. Jonathan Little says this should be 4.5, and knowing that this guy will call a raise of up to 5 with almost anything, why not make it 5? Go 5 or 6, and then get screwed by the queens when it happens, but that doesn't usually happen.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, I would be going at least at least 5.
Yeah, 5. I go 4.5 in a regular game, and I go 5 against this villain, 5 or 5.5 or even 6 against that villain.
Mhm.
Okay. But I get screwed by the queens who raise it to what size?
Let us go 16.
16, or even, if we want to, even,
17.
even 18.
Yeah.
16 is fine, but 18 is the 3 times plus the dead money, 18. 18 is fine. Not fine. Now, what it accomplishes, oh my God, villain 16 folded.
Man.
Shocked. All right, there we go.
All right, so okay, what do we have here? All right, queens, even with the king, we can still be betting. We have the queen of diamonds
Mhm.
as well. So let us bet and let's go. Let's go. Here. But I think it's flop, so let's go C bet 6.
Sure. I like any number between 0 and, I like 0 and I like 5 to 8 as my numbers here. A third to a half or check. Now, what do you think, Skate, of making this your strategy here? That you check your entire range out of position, even in a 3-bet pot?
Yeah. I like it more. I like a check more as played. We 3-bet, but basically min. We of course, he could still have you know, ace king, king queen suited. The occasional 2-pair. The king tens. Yeah, yeah. So he could have all
And
that.
so, oh, yeah, go on. Yep, exactly. So
Yep.
there's three competing heuristics in our mind here. One is a very old one, c-bet 3, 3-bet c-bet, which isn't true, but it does work effectively against a lot of players. The second one is what we know about the solver, which is the solver checks a lot out of position. It mixes checks and bets. It misses checks, bets, and then check raises. We know that. And then there's Mark Goon's play, who has simplified it in most cases to he c-bets in position 100% of his range, and he checks 100% of his range out of position, and then decides. And I think all 3 of those have merit. So I think you can do nothing wrong with this hand. He goes for the bet, and that size seems unnecessary.
So so if you were villain 15, and let's say you would have done something more standard, like you would have gone 17, 18.
Mhm.
Would
No, I would've gone-
you?
I would have gone 8. I would have gone 5 to 8. I would bet small.
No. Yeah, as far as the
pre-flop.
pre-flop, yeah, pre-flop raise. Would you have bet the flop here more commonly than not?
I would be check calling this flop.
Okay.
And if we want, let's just throw this in. Let's throw this one into the solve. All right, here we go. There we go. So this is going to be we need to get a post flop included. And for
Yeah,
post
but
flop,
I like Skate's question about the size of his pre-flop raise. I think really affects how your strategy because it's
and I
going to
can't-
change what he calls with.
Yeah, I can't go post. I can't go post with even a 3x, much less the 4x that he's at because of the limper. So I don't have an answer. Oh, right, because he went to this tiny 7. I forgot he didn't go 16. He went 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's super wide here. He's got to be here with everything. Yeah, with that. Yeah, I'm more likely than with this width. I'm more likely to bet the 5 to 8. But I think I'm going to still check call because I keep all his kings. Yeah. So he bets big. like that. That is not my favorite size for him. All right. After skate, it is me. But let's be honest, they're all me. I'm doing most of the talking. Fold, 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 raise, fold, fold is what should happen. I do not expect king three to fold to anything in here. There we go. Oh my, yep, there's my fold. Oh, and he doesn't even open the 5. So I expect him to limp this in. He does. Jack 4, I bet his, against a limp in normal land, the Jack 4 can do some raising here. I think he should not raise this because this guy never folds. And so that whole bottom that is a bluff, I think is a bad idea, and he should just take his equity, just get to see a flop like that. Check. This Jack, this guy has very few aces in his checking range, so you're probably ahead here. But when you're not ahead, you're way the hell behind. The next card is a club. He doesn't have all of that. I think that you can check this behind and bet the turn if it goes check, check. He bets 1. Fine. Now, after this, you should go check, check. He checks, you should check your Jack now. Yeah, he goes for the 1 again, gets the call. And now, when it goes check, bet for value here. Ace, ace, jack, jack, 4. I don't want to bet for value here. He does, and he goes really small, and he goes, and I bet he's going to get called by the 3. It's going to work. So he made more money on that hand than I would. All right, up next is Richie, who is, I'm almost sure, not here, which brings us to Mike. But if Richie is here, say something. All right, Mike.
Fold around, get a walk. But let's see. Villain, does he want to limp 7-3?
I think he's folding this. Nope, not folding this. Not on the button.
Right. Fold 6-4, king 6. Okay, so we got the call from the 6-4. At this point with king 6, if it were me, I would very much consider just raising here.
Yep.
To
what size?
I would make, well, the standard for me would be 6. Maybe I go bigger now because of villain 16. Let's stick to the standard. I'll go 6 here, but let's see. He's probably just going to check behind.
Yep. I'm going to go 8, and I'm going to go 8 with king 6 suited. I think king 6 suited is high enough in range compared to his range. But he checks.
All right, so we get a flop. Should go check. King 6. Should we start leading? And I do believe we could. I think so. Either leading or checking would be a good here. We haven't seen, I think villain 16 just, he's not like a maniac. He's just a really big calling station.
No.
So probably just lead. Just lead smallish. Probably could even go half pot.
Sure.
That's what he does. He gets a call, 4-6 fold. Probably wouldn't be out of line to continue here, considering the range that villain 16 has, but I would check.
I would check against a normal player. Against villain 16, I'd continue to bet small.
Yeah.
That's fine. He checks. Great.
We get a check behind here. Ugh. Sucks for villain 18 because I would value bet.
He does.
And when he gets raised, probably, oh yeah, just fold.
Just fold.
Yep. To that size. I was gonna say if he like min clicks it or something, I'd call, but that's about it.
Yep. Okay. This is Melanie.
Okay. 7-8 fold. Queen 10 off can raise. Could raise.
Could, doesn't have to. And then the one thing about the king, queen 10 here, queen 10 can raise, but he knows he's getting called. Right. And so he has to decide, what does he want to do with his range? Does he want to stretch to queen 10? I think you do. I think queen 10 is a good raise here when you know that someone's calling you with a much more.
Yeah.
You do it.
So queen 4 should fold.
Right. But what will he do?
He's going to limp.
Damn right.
King queen can 3-bet.
To what size?
5 maybe even.
Hmm.
Or
What's-
4. I mean, we're just in position, so
So against a standard villain who limps, what's your ISO size here on the button against the cutoff for you?
4.5.
That's great. Yeah, 4.5, 5, 3.5 I think is a bit small, but you can make an excuse for it. But against this guy, now you've got a really good hand. You're way at the top of your range. And you know that he calls bigger bets. So 5,
6.5.
maybe 6, maybe 6.5. Yeah. Worst
That's
possible
not-
choice.
King
Absolute
9 to
possible
fold,
choice.
but he's going to limp.
Yeah. Do you want to ISO out of position with a king 9 offsuit
No,
here? Neither do I.
no.
Yep. And I should fold it, but I think there's a chance here that I would call in this situation and just go, it's a half a big blind.
Yeah.
Probably not good.
With a 19 should just check.
Happy to see a flop. Happy to see a flop. Because sometimes you flop that.
Good. I would check this.
Hmm?
Or actually, Villain 16 never really bets themselves a lot.
Yep.
So how about we make a small bet?
Yeah. That's good too.
If there's an aggressive player behind, I would totally check. But
Here's another good reason to bet here, which is you're expecting villain 16 not to bet. Villain 17, whether he has anything or doesn't and takes a stab, when you check raise him, you knock villain
he's
16,
out.
you keep him from making a mistake. You
Yeah.
bet, you make it easier for him to make a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tiny bet and
Yeah, but it didn't happen. Yeah, it checked around.
yeah.
Now this terrible thing happens to you.
I don't know. There's 2 options. One is you check, somebody else bets, and you have to fold. Or you bet tiny and see if you get any resistance.
Yep. There's a third option, which is to quit playing poker. That seems like a very reasonable option right now. He goes for the check. And there's their bluff.
1.67 into 350. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I would do. Usually what I have seen in cash games, but that's NL5, is that when people see the third flash card coming on the turn, they just bet in the hopes of getting the pot, especially if it's only 2 or 3 players.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think you could still call and see if he tries to do the same thing on the river, because if he then checks, maybe it wasn't that great of a hand.
Yep. If we were sitting where villain 16 is, this is a much easier call. With a guy to play behind us, this is misery. And it works to there, but not to there.
You just can't get him out.
Yep. Let's see how bad he tries. He checks.
Yeah, not bad enough.
No, bad enough.
He gets him to fold. Okay.
You fold. He's calling. He seems to be doing a lot of calling once and not calling the second time to see what you do. So
Yeah.
if you had that knowledge, you would know that if you're going to bluff him, you got to go multi-street. I don't think we have. I did not pick up on that because we also did his hands, because this is going to come up in 5 hands from now. This is going to come up against me, and I'm not going to do it right. All right. So that's Mel. All right. After Melanie, we have Larry.
All right, I'm unmuted. So we still have a very large stack with villain 16. So villain 15 has a conventional open, so he should open.
Yep.
Villain 16, I assume, is going to come along.
Damn right.
So broken stack villain 17 is in an awkward spot. He's probably gonna call, but I don't think that's the best choice. How many hands does villain 15 have?
Villain 15,
Yes.
he's been here for 23 hands.
So
Although that might not be accurate. That might be a new villain 15. It might, that could be a poker tracker mistake. We don't know.
sure. So villain 17 in theory doesn't really have any flats here. So he should go to 11 big blinds or maybe 12, somewhere between 11 and 13, or he should fold.
Yep.
In theory, you have no flats here.
Which is why he flats.
Okay. Which most people are gonna do. So,
And one question
yeah,
about, do you like playing that way against real players? Or do you think, that in theory, do you think that that theory holds against all the variation that they're doing against, because they're not playing in theory? Do you think that this theory is still a good one? Me too.
as I think that you are motivated to take it heads up. And you just, yeah, I think generally you're gonna win more pots if you risk the money pre. I think
Yeah.
it's more profitable to risk the money pre and try to take it heads up or try to take it down pre. Especially in a high rake environment where you're not paying rake pre-flop.
Yeah.
So I think the better choice is to go to like 12 or 13 here if you're gonna play this hand.
I agree.
I think it's a better three better fold.
All right. And if you're going to have, if you're going to violate the GTO rule because the other people aren't playing GTO, therefore GTO is not the optimal strategy against them. I think the hand classes to call behind here are ace deuce, maybe ace nine suited. I mean, suited.
Yeah, you
Um,
want suited combos just to
some
allow you.
suited connectors and some small pairs and some, and some set,
Agreed. I mean, this hand is.
not big offsuit cards.
I mean, I've certainly been guilty of flatting this hand behind in this environment, but I think your better choice is to go to like 12 or 13 big ones.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And I think the hand class you absolutely don't want to do this with is the king, queen off, queen, jack off, king 10 off, king, jack off block. That whole block there.
Yeah,
It would-
agreed.
That's the worst thing to do it with, I think. Also, the ace 10, ace 9, and I'll say ace jack here. I think those are the
Yeah,
worst.
ace jack's a weird one. I
Yeah,
agree.
that's
Ace
right.
jack gets weird.
And I
So
did
then
do
a
it.
flat, of course.
Right.
Um,
And I did flat an ace jack against something there when this other guy was in, and I gave my reasons and they were probably wrong. But I did do it.
and then
Bad.
everybody else should fold.
Yep.
So, okay. So he does have position. But he's gonna pay the price.
Mhm.
So, I always defer to Jeff. I think this is a very good check. It's a good check for two reasons. One, you're out of position and you gain a lot of information by checking to understand how much these people like their hand.
Yep.
Two, you have an ace, and you're often dominated and it matters less, obviously, with villain 17, but villain 16 could really be painful.
Hmm.
So I think a check is better here with this hand. Yeah.
I agree. And if it goes check, 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 you can feel pretty good on the turn as long as it's not a club.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I
goes-
think a lot of people want to just take it down here.
Yep.
Because they're like, I don't want another card to roll over, but.
Mhm. Yep.
And it feels passive, but I
Yep.
think it's the right choice.
If it goes check, check, bet, you absolutely call. You do not fold your top pair to the
Agreed.
snap position. 100%.
Yeah,
You call
this
once.
texture is really bad because it's very hard for you to improve,
Yep.
but you still are going to.
Yep.
Yeah,
If it goes check, bet, raise, you fold instantly.
yeah.
And if it goes check,
do cool.
bet, and if it goes check, bet, call, you think about your inner Joey.
Now, the one thing about this is that a lot of times, when you play passively here, it's frustrating because the run out is horrible or you get somehow cooler on the turn. And you're like, well, I should have bet big on the flop. But I think I'm gonna trust Jonathan Jaffe. I think over 1,000 times playing in the situation, the more profitable choice is to check.
And for me, for my inner Joey on this particular board, this situation, I go, if it goes check, bet, call, easy. Check, bet, raise, fold, easy. Check, bet, call. Oh, fuck, really? Fold. I would fold this. I would listen to my inner Joey and fold this one on the flop. Unless it's a one big blind bet and a one big blind call, then I'm not gonna do it. But I mean,
Yeah, I think we depend on sizing.
normal size, check, bet, call, fold. And then if it goes check, bet, fold, I would think for a bit. And then I would fold against this guy because we've seen him do nothing aggressive. Nothing. So I would, in this particular situation, I would fold maybe to this guy on his bet. Maybe not. All right, there we go. Goes check, check, check. Oh no, goes check, check, bet. And
So
we
he
said,
takes, this is very common, right?
Yep.
This is, I'm in position and I'm gonna utilize it.
Yep.
So, but I don't know if his bet's good here because essentially what he's doing here is he's turning a marginal showdown hand
Mhm.
into a bluff. This is
Yep.
very mergy. The sizing is very mergy.
Mhm.
Ace four is now in a very awkward spot, but I think we call, see what happens.
I'm calling, and then when I look at his stack, I go, I was thinking about folding on the turn, but given the size, I might not. But yeah, I'm
Yes, deck size is important here.
calling.
We
Good.
call. That's what we want. We want that too. That's a total brick. SPR is important here.
Yep.
SPR is 1.
Mm-hmm.
So if he bets, you're gonna have a decision point. So check and check, which is great, obviously.
The best thing in the world.
And now we get an okay river, not the greatest, but we scan only backdoor hearts got there. I don't see a straight available. So now you've got a capped range, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got if you're ace four, your in position player opponent has a capped range. So your sizing can vary. And what Hungry Horse likes to talk about here, and I don't think he played this hand this way, but I think Hungry Horse would say, what are we targeting and what do we want them to call? So this is, I think, often going to be like jacks, and maybe not jacks, they would probably squeeze pre, but like nines and some queens. I think your bet, I think your sizing probably is around a B50 to a B75 here.
Okay. I'm gonna check here, and I'm gonna check and call a jam.
Okay.
That's gonna be my play.
Yeah, well, you've got a good point. I forgot about stack size here.
Yeah.
So I think what I said was wrong. Let me change that. I think what I said was wrong here because of stack size, because your B50 is kind of stupid because you can never fold to a shove. Maybe it's okay. Maybe
Yeah.
B50 is okay. I think B75 is ridiculous, but maybe a B50 is okay.
Yep. And if you're gonna bet it, I'm gonna bet B8,
So
B10. If I
you're
bet
gonna bet like 10 big blinds or 10%?
10 big blinds, 8 big blinds, I'm gonna bet a third pot. I'm gonna bet a blocker bet size that I am gonna call if this guy raises me. I'm
Yeah.
betting a blocker bet size to try to get called by a queen, and the unfortunate thing is I make it easy for him to call me with ace 5, which I split with. Oh, I'm okay. I split all the way up to ace
Ace nine.
9 beats me. All right. So anyway,
Yeah, I like your sizing. Makes
Yeah.
sense. I check feels, I think our hand's too good for a check out of position, frankly, here. After he has come at us with big aggression, and then he has
Yeah.
checked back on turn.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would bet here. I would bet
Yeah.
around I think I would. I'm comfortable with B50.
Right.
I think I'd
Okay.
bet B50.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna check my ace 4, I'm gonna bet my hearts. I'm gonna bet my clubs here. And by the my bet is pot. I've got an all in and a check here. I don't have that blocker bet. I'm not seeing anything that I want to do the blocker bet with.
Yeah.
I suppose I could do the blocker bet with ace 10. I suppose I could do that, but I don't think I want to. I don't want to do it with this one. So anyway, he goes for the more than blocker bet and gets the fold. So there you go. All right. That was Larry. We're on skate.
Alright, 69. Ace 9. And the button.
Mhm.
Off can open. Yeah,
Yep.
ace 9 open. And take it.
Yep, that's what should happen. But what's going to happen is 6-9, we assume, is going to limp. And then ace 8 may limp along with him. There's the limp. There's the limp. And now ace 9 has the choice.
Ace 9 can. I would probably fold this one and call some suited.
Okay, I'm going to squeeze this one. I don't know if he does, but that's what I'm going to do. And actually, I think he is going to. He's our squeezer. He should, but he doesn't do it to big enough size. There's his squeeze.
Okay, I mean,
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it too much, but you know, yeah.
Look,
Fold.
look. He folded to a squeeze. Wow.
Yeah.
This guy should fold. He shouldn't have been in there in the first place. I don't expect him to, but he should fold. There we go. And now, oh boy.
Okay, I imagine he's gonna either shove or check.
Checking is good.
And we can. I mean, they are shallow enough that we can check here by the turn and river and get the
Yep.
money in that way. So
Yep.
we could, yeah, we could do either or.
Yep. And if we look at this board, is this the kind of board that we feel safe checking back on?
Yes.
Oh God, yes. Yeah. The only one better is ace 8 deuce and ace 7 deuce. This is so good. Yeah. So check, check. Right.
Okay. Broadway coming in here, so let's start. Okay, so yeah, again, villain is going to either check or jam. I imagine they're gonna check. Ooh,
That's big.
bets. And you know, the only better aces they can have is, I imagine, you know, of course they can have ace queen, but if they ace 10 or ace jack, they can have, but most likely they have more combos of the others. So we're still gonna call here. So we're gonna call.
Yep. Yeah.
Let's call.
We are not folding this hand ever. There's no hand, there's no card that's gonna make us fold this one. The only question is, do we jam now? And I think the best choice is to not jam now.
Mhm.
Jamming now makes it easy for him to bet when he has a bluff. So I like it.
Okay.
Now the hand plays itself.
Yeah, I think he is going to get all the money.
Yep,
Yep.
yep. Just like that. That's great. All right. Ace deuce fold, ace 5 can raise, and he should raise because he's going to get called by a much worse range here. He does. I have to fold the 10-6. He's not only going to call, he can call. Against the cutoff, 10-6 suited, sure, he can call. He does it. There we go. Check. On this board, he can bet 4.5 on this board easily with just, you know, with a lot of his range, and might as well. He does, and it's over. All right. Mike. Two, three, four. Let's see. Is Mike muted? Let me hit Mike. Mike might be gone.
Yeah, I was muted. Sorry.
Okay,
I was
okay,
muted.
good. All right.
Yeah, ace jack open and take it. Let's see if we get a flat from the queen 4.
Or we do.
All right, Jack 3 should fold.
Right.
He's gonna call because
I
it's
think he's gonna
suited.
Yeah, I think he's gonna call. He's playing the villain 16 style. We have 2 of them now.
Okay, kind of interesting here. This short stack really kind of throws wrenches into things. What should happen is it should go check, check, and then the ace jack is in kind of an interesting spot. It's a good board for him, and he has some decent equity. I think solvers would say you can check this, you can bet this. If you bet it, it's going to typically be on the small side, like B25. He goes B50, even more than that, actually like a B66.
Yeah.
The queen 4, now that he's called and flopped middle pair with a shit kicker and a multi-way pot, I think you just get out of there, but he's going to call.
He's gonna call once and maybe fold on the turn. We've seen that a million times.
And now the gut
That's
shot
weird.
with
Oh, wait,
a
gut shot, yeah,
backdoor
gut shot.
flush.
Yeah.
Maybe says, I mean, you don't have any implied odds because your
Yeah, he
stack
should be for that.
size is so low.
Yeah.
I would imagine, what's his direct odds here? So, I mean, he's 6%, getting 22%.
Yeah.
If there's any implied odds behind it, yeah.
That's terrible.
In a multi-way pot like this, I think you just got to fold it.
To call this 5, he needs to be able to win, and even this is not enough, but he needs to be able to win 11 more of it total. So there needs to be 55 in the pot by the time it's over. And you can't guarantee that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's going to be the,
At least.
if the
Yep.
pot gets that high for him, that's the max he can get.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
So check, check. The ace jack here. Kind of an interesting spot.
Yeah.
I don't know if he should just try to realize or if he should go for another bet. What sucks is that villain 17, and he got called twice. So I think you just check here.
and the reason villain 17
Because
has
if
no
you-
odds, by the way, is because the 10 is good for villain, because when his 10 comes in, villain 9 beats him.
Yeah.
We
So
didn't look at that, but that's why he's so screwed.
if villain 17 had a full stack,
Mm-hmm.
I could see betting again here by villain 19. Because if he bets, even if he bets small and then gets jammed on by villain 17, you almost might have to call it off. But so that's why I think checking is
Yeah.
good now as opposed to bluffing.
I like it too. And because that king makes it so much easier for a queen to call. Even a 9. Yep.
So now that we get the river, queen should check, jack should check. And now that these two have checked behind, do we get to go for value? This would be very thin, I think. I think this would be very, very, very thin.
We're chopping with ace deuce.
Which tells, I don't know, it would be really, really thin, which things maybe we can go for a bet here, but probably just check.
So here's the thing about the bet. If we bet, we have to bet small enough to get called by a queen or a 9 for this to be profitable. So that's pretty small. That's smaller than half pot. So we have to violate the half pot rule, and we're allowed to do that. We just know we're doing it consciously. We can feel confident that villain 16 is not going to check raise bluff us. 87 threes don't check raise bluff. And villain 17, if he bluffs us, if he comes in for the bluff, I don't know that we fold to him with top pair. So we can make this thin bet, but it's got to be really small. We got to get called by a queen. And that is too big. Yeah. So I think he bet with the best hand for the wrong reason. Okay. That was Mike. It's on Melanie.
Ace 9 fold, 7-3 of fold. This can raise 2.5.
But I have a
Um,
question. Yep, this can raise, but now the question, you know that you're getting called by any two cards by villain 16. And you know that you're flipping against basically any two cards. Do you want to fold this?
not necessarily.
Okay,
I mean, it's the lowest pocket pair, but he plays things that are even worse if you would compare it to any shit 10 that he has played.
yeah,
I mean, there's still some value to be had from a pocket pair against this guy at least.
Yeah,
And then
just to add something real quick, your
Mhm.
implied odds with a set, go up,
mhm,
because this guy's gonna misplay his top pair.
right. Okay, that's not bad. So the adjustment I would make here is if you had adjusted to him to bet 3 and 3.5 and even 4 to get called by his worst range, with the deuces, I would drop back down to your 2.5 and set mine for cheap.
yeah, cheap, because what if the button three bets the big blind three bets us? Then we're in
Yeah.
bad shape.
Yep. And I would even take a second and think, do I want to limp deuces here? Given what I know is going to happen at the table, and then say, no, I'm not going to limp deuces. I'm not going to let anybody see me limp deuces.
If they're
But I would
limping
think about it.
range.
I would think about it.
Yeah. Okay.
I wouldn't want to do it if villain 19 is in because we've seen villain 19 attack the limps. We've not seen any of these guys attack the limps. So I'd
Yeah.
consider it. And he
Okay.
does it,
Okay, then villain 16 is going to limp behind.
right?
The small blind should fold, but he's
Absolutely,
going to limp.
right?
And villain 18 is going to check.
Yep. Isn't that great? If he doesn't squeeze the ace nine, we know this guy doesn't squeeze, and he doesn't squeeze ace nine. This is
Yeah.
not a bad result.
Maybe no need to raise the deuces. Yeah.
Yeah. Just in this very bizarre situation. All right.
Okay. There was no pre-flop aggressor, so
Yep. So,
Uh,
so all those rules go out of the way.
yeah, so he did hit the check, so maybe it's possible for him to bet small.
Mhm.
If he bets ace nine, I don't know, maybe a small bet he can call.
Yep, he bets that size, so that's what he's got to deal with. I think this is not his best choice. I think his best choice is to check, and I think his best choice was to fold pre-flop, but this is the one he makes, so everybody else has to react to it.
Okay. Could be a call still.
Mhm.
It's middle pair. It's not great.
Yeah,
It's not great.
yeah, I'd strongly consider folding it. But
Okay.
if you
Yeah.
call it off too, he does,
Yeah.
okay, great. Good for him.
Yeah. Villain 15 should fold,
Mhm.
and villain 16 should call.
Yeah.
Now I would check. Leave the lead, see what happens. Okay, no. Villain 16 call.
Yep, don't raise. Do not raise here. That is my opinion. Even though the
Yeah.
flush card comes in, do not
Yeah.
raise.
Villain 17 should probably still check. Okay.
He turns his
Yeah,
top
then-
pair into a bluff, if that's what he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. It's also the rest that he's got.
It could work.
I don't know, given that he has to check, he might actually call that.
Yep. It could work. It's not going to work against me for that size,
Yeah,
but it works against him.
interesting.
Yep. He calls a lot of those, he calls a lot of those single things. There we go. And from that, and here we are basically, this is going to be the last hand. Now, and this would actually be good. Well, no, well, anyway, this is the last hand of this sequence. I know that. So I have done this. I have waited patiently all this time. I have a deep understanding of his play. I finally have a legitimate raising hand, and watch me misplay it. Am I up yet next? No, I'm not up next. It's Larry. Larry, would you like to narrate my shame?
I think I prefer to have our dear leader narrate
I will.
his own
yes,
hand, which I think
yes, the
sounds like
dear-
you remember this hand.
Oh, I do.
Unfortunately, I'm
I'm
gonna
not only
defer
going
to
to
you
ra-
and I will do the next one.
So I'm not only going to raise, I'm going to raise oversize. I'm going to go up to 4.55, because I know this guy will call me with anything.
Yeah,
So
and you
all
want
the
to
way
take a
to
heads up.
5. And there he is calling me with his shitty ace queen. I mean, it's not even suited. All right, everybody else folds. That's what we want, but I'm still out of position for it. I get this. This thing kind of misses his, misses him because he doesn't have a range that can support it. I have 2 overcards. I have no spade. That's bad, but I can continue. I continue with a check because I have the best hand. He checks behind. I get a 5. So now this has missed him. I can now start betting. I bet 5. He calls me. And unlike everything that I didn't really get from, because I didn't see this because they weren't heads up, I didn't see just how big he folded on the river. This 21 here, like a real poker player playing against his range, would have worked. But instead, I said king queen has showdown value.
Oh, no.
Doesn't matter. He bluffed anyway.
Okay.
And I didn't call though, did I? No, I didn't at least I didn't call. And that there was when I had to leave. And I
I
couldn't
mean, you
play.
have a life other than poker?
I
Wow.
had to go, and let's see if it even tells me what day and time this was. You don't
Okay.
care what I had to do.
Oh,
I had to
it's good.
I had to go out, and it was something that I had to do, like
So
pick
that
up.
is a very sad moment because you didn't really get an opportunity to take this guy's money.
Never, never.
Happens to everyone.
Right. Now, I was out of position to him, so we knew that that was going to be a problem. And I was kind of card dead. Not hugely card dead, but I was pretty card dead for 33 hands. I was below average. I wasn't card dead. And yep. And so all of this led to me being down, I don't know, 12 big blinds, 13 big blinds, something like that. Because I remember I rebought a couple of 2.5s along the way. Yep. Okay. So if it's okay with you guys, I'm going to end early today and go off and do some shows because that was a sequence. So we have a whole story. Tomorrow, Larry, I'm not going to be here, but I will be able to open the room.
Okay. I'll be here to open it. Guys, tomorrow, if you want to join us, we'll do some work in the trainer and the GTO wizard trainer, and we'll do some marked hands.
Yeah, Martans. Okay.
Scotty, thank you very much for the time today.
You're very welcome. And then next week, let me take a look at what next week is. Next week is going to be normal, Monday, Tuesday. And then the week after that, I will be in Las Vegas and not doing this, but I'll open up the room for you guys. And let me turn off the recorder. If anybody made it this far, welcome to our world. Feel free to join us anytime. Just shoot a note on YouTube. I see all the notes. Just ask and I'll send you the link to it or tell you how to get to the link. And if you like and subscribe, we don't care. We don't care if you like and subscribe at all. But we do care if you comment, not because of what it does to the algorithm, but we find them amusing. And last week, someone commented that Larry has a shitty microphone, and listen to Larry's microphone. Listen to it. Talk to him, Larry.
Well, I've improved my microphone quite significantly, sir.
Was there really a comment about his microphone?
Yes, there's a comment about Larry's microphone, and we responded. We said we were going to get Larry to fix his mic, and we did. So we respond to the people's needs here at the All Hands Face Up Cash Game Poker Group.
All
May
right,
the
man,
poker
so-
gods be with you all.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
And we will talk to you guys next week.